What is up, everybody? Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday night edition of the Joe Quill Show. I am Joe Quills, as it says down there on the bottom right there, bottom left, my right, your left. I got a great show coming up here, as always. Going to keep you updated on the Phillies game. Phillies just took a 6-4 lead when Cal Stevenson, and if I had that sound drop, I'd have the Conor McGregor drop going for you. Uh, Hit a double down the right field line to knock in 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. They lead it 6-4. I left my sheets over there. Hold on a second. Yeah, you can tell how professional I am because I left my sheets over there. Um, so we got a lot of stuff going on tonight here. We got the Phillies finishing off a win. At least I think it's supposed to be a win. Um, Tell you what's going on there is the guys where you just basically say, "Who the f is that guy?" Like this guy, Buddy Kennedy. Who the f is that guy? Well, he just got a base hit the right field to bring in another run. So it's 7-4 right now. So as you see there on the bottom of the screen, we have um, the topics. Rosenhaus says that cop needs to be fired. Jets lose. NBA expansion. Apparently, there's a trend where if you lose a bet, you contact the star player on Venmo. So that and more, and whatever you want to bring up as well, uh, you know, just fire away in the chat room, and I will see it. And like for example, I'll just do something like that. So, uh, so um, yeah, so we did have a major league record there as Trey Turner goes yard, and all of a sudden it's a blowout down at the ballpark. It's 9-4 good guys as the Phillies appear to be on their way to win number however many it is now, and one game closer to a division title and potentially home field. Um, we did have a major league record tonight. Kyle Schwarber hit his 14th home run as a leadoff batter in the game. So that is a major league record. He breaks the record of Alfonso Soriano, also known as Alfonso Soranus. Um, he hit um, He hit a home run in the first inning, which means that I get paid because I actually played um, Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run tonight, which he did at plus 350. So just got to wait for the game to become final so I can get my money from that. Um, but with that came a little bit of a problem because in the third inning, pickoff attempt to first base, um, Kyle Schwarber hurt his elbow. Hopefully, it's not a big deal, but with Bryce Harper and his elbow right now and everything, you just got to wonder: is this just like what the hell's going on here? So but the Phillies are up 9-4 now, and Schwarber had that record-breaking home run tonight. So, and I will say this because I was kind of watching the game when work was finishing up my last day before vacation. So I'm officially on vacation, but hopefully, if AJ is watching either during the show or after the fact, hopefully he realizes that this is a staycation because and I'm not going to say this to put him down or anything like that because sometimes I got to be put in check every once in a while, and I think he sees my work ethic um with my horse racing articles, Quills picks winners. So um the one thing I will tell you is um those articles that I write are not or they're not that hard. It's just getting myself motivated with the fact that it's like, oh, it's too early. It's only 10:30. Then the next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still not even started typing. And thankfully, because I have control of the articles and posting it and everything. Um, oh, and all of a sudden they're playing the feud in Philly. I missed what happened here, and I'm going to have to rewind it in a couple of minutes. But you know, kind of like that Larry Anderson shirt that Larry Anderson wore in 1993. Don't fuck with the Phillies, but he had fuck as PHUCK. Um, so I don't know what happened here. Hopefully, we can see what's going on here. Matt Strom is already in his short and t-shirt. Did Harper do something here? And mind you, if you're watching the game and you know what's going on here, feel free to let me know because I'm going to try to rewind it in a few seconds. So now they're all talking. The umpires haven't started the game clock, the pitch clock, or anything like that. So looks like things have settled down here. Oh, okay. So he threw at Castellanos. Castellanos said something. Umpire's getting in the way. So he's talking shit. Harper's talking shit. He goes towards the pitcher, and this is one thing that I said that the Phillies needed when, um, uh, and Penguin is here. Welcome in, man. I turned my head, and the next thing I know, the Phillies and the Rays are playing old time hockey. But, um, the pitcher Yusita, I don't know if he got tossed from the game or not. He threw at Nick Castellanos after Um, Harper got a double, and he got lit up like a Christmas tree. Uh, Cal Stevenson got a two-run single. Then Buddy Kennedy, another one of those who the fuck are those guys? He got a hit. Then Trey Turner hit a two-run homer. So probably the frustration got to him, and next thing you know, we were about to play the feud. And the one thing I said about the Phillies when they were in that rough patch, the one thing I said was they need a bench clearing brawl just to show team unity more than anything else. And of course, it's when the Phillies are getting back on track and beating the hell out of other teams that they do something like this. But it is what it is, and the Phillies, you know, you know, they'll probably have T-shirts tomorrow saying "Don't fuck with the Phillies" and "fuck being PHUCK" instead of FUCK. So, but they did have a um, bench clearing fracas. Or I mean, it's not even a brawl. It was just "fuck you, no fuck you," you know. And the guy probably doesn't know English, so Castellanos is probably cursing at him in Spanish. And Bryce Harper was saying, "I kilo you, oh motherfuckero," something like that, pig Spanish or something like that. But you know, so Phillies, first time they've had something like that in a while, and it appears only the pitcher was. It appears the pitcher was thrown out of the game. Let me just confirm that. Um, Somebody said that Matt Strom left his evening yoga class. Okay, so Yusita was ejected. I got that from Bet Parks on Twitter. Uh, and I trust Bet Parks, even though they're not a partner. They don't have any specials with Bleacher Brothers right now, only because Bet Parks is only in like 4 states: Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, and some other state. The last I saw. Um, so, so I'm ready. I'm ready to go now. So, uh, yeah. So whatever I was talking about before I turned away, and next thing you know, they were playing the feud. I don't know what I was talking about, um, yeah, I'm also on vacation now. So, that's what it was. It was about vacation. Um, when I've gone on vacation, like in May, I went to Seattle over Memorial Day weekend to see friends. And the one thing is, AJ has to tell me, okay, Penguin's back here. Welcome back, man. You missed the feud. Matter of fact, here we go. I'm gonna, who cares if I get DMCA'd or whatever you call it here? Fuck it. Uh, uh, I was watching the La Stella report since you were being the Phillies play-by-play. Well, I don't know who's watching, other than you. I mean, you're the only one that's active in chat, and I don't mind if people are not active in chat. People lurking around. That's fine too. I'm a lurker when it comes to um, some people's um, Twitch pages and stuff because like I watch some Twitch streams while I'm working, and I just watch and I'll post a comment every once in a while. And perfect example was when Tony Bruno was doing his show. Um, I'd come in with a quick one liner, and be like, and if you really wanted to, Tony could have probably said, "Shouldn't you be working right now?" But that's just slip a one liner in there. But here's what caused everything. Um, and one of my friends that I used to work with is laughing at me because I have not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 fantasy football teams this year. Um, it just exploded because you know it's just, hey, you want to join? Yeah, sure, why not? But so here's what happened. This is from Bet Parks, and I'll probably get the MCA, but fuck it. Uh, So mind you, this is after the Phillies lit up the Ucito like a Christmas tree here, with a single scoring 2 runs, a double scoring another run, and then Turner hit a home run. So here is what happened next.
Bryce now with 39 doubles on the year.
Oh,
Castellanos is hit by the pitch, and he is not happy. The benches are going to clear. Harper's already at the mounds. Castellanos has been hit a handful of times this week. Dusty Wathan comes over with Brandon Marsh to move Harper away. The bullpen's clear as well. Bryce now with 39.
So that's what happened there. Basically, Ucito got pissed off. Castellanos got hit a lot lately. He got hit in LA last month, and he was barking at the pitcher. But you get hit numerous times, that's going to happen. So Rays have nothing to lose. Well, Ucito is going to lose a game check or two, and it is what it is. So hopefully that's still. Hopefully that won't be silenced or removed, or I don't get DMCA'd as it's called for showing something like that. But if I do, it would only be my first strike. It isn't like I'm going to have work to do because if I have to remove this from YouTube, so be it. So, and I haven't seen anything about yesterday's show when I was showing the Tyreek Hill cop footage, but I do have updates on that as well. So now Drew Rosenhaus, that blowhard, he wants the cop to be fired, rightfully so, because he's protecting one of his clients, Tyreek Hill. Now the police officer is also seeking immediate reinstatement from administrative duty after his involvement in Sunday's detainment of Tyreek Hill. Rosenhaus wants him fired. Attorneys Ignacio Alvarez of Algo Law Firm and Israel Reyes of the Reyes Law Firm, who are representing the Miami-Dade Police Department officer, issued a statement Monday calling for the client's immediate reinstatement. They also referred to the decision to place their client on administrative duties as premature, although they fully support Miami-Dade PD Director Stephanie Daniels' call for a thorough review. And the thing is, if you're going to have a thorough review, no matter what it is, you can't have them on the street. Plain and simple. And I understand what those lawyers are saying as well, because they want him on the street doing what he's supposed to do. Now the thing is, and we'll get to this in a second, we don't know what their past records are. So you're not going to hear, he did this 5 years ago and got 3 days suspension. And you're not going to hear that. It's kind of like if Penguin AZ wanted to get me fired for whatever reason, he'll never know. Well, I just probably won't have a Bleacher Brothers T-shirt on. I just won't have that on. There'll probably be a bonfire over by the high school. All right, now if there's a bonfire at the high school tonight, that's strictly coincidence. Okay, I do not condone any of that stuff. So, anyways, so the attorneys did not identify the officer that they were representing, but the police department said the officer placed on administrative duties while the internal affairs investigation is ongoing is Danny Torres, who has a 27-year tenure. So I know with Philadelphia police, you need 25 years to retire with full benefits, I think it is. So depending on what they do in Miami, he could probably just say, well, F you guys, I'm retiring. So depending on what they do. But he may be a guy that just doesn't know anything else other than cop stuff. Um, so so the attorneys didn't immediately respond when asking whether their statement was crafted or before or after the body camera footage from the incident was made public yesterday. But they did say we urge all parties to refrain from making public statements that may misrepresent our client's actions and mislead the public about Mr. Hill's detainment. Now, here's the thing, and I don't know anything about the law, but from watching On Patrol Live, which was originally um, Live PD. Yeah, you know what I mean. It moved from A&E to Reels. The one thing you hear from the cops, especially when you have a suspect, I guess that's the correct word here, suspect. If you have a person who you're not arresting, they will tell them, we are detaining you. Now, we saw the video last night, and you saw each side was in the wrong, in my opinion. I said that last night. I will stand to that because that I feel that Tyreek Hill did not cooperate with the officer. Shutting the window, refusing to get out of the car, whatever. Also, the cop did use what some will call unnecessary force. So, like I said, two wrongs don't make a right. Both parties are in the wrong. But because it's Tyreek Hill, we know he's not going to get discipline from the league because he did nothing wrong in terms of anything in the video. Now, they may say, hey, Tyreek, you can't be speeding around the stadium when there's all these people. Yeah, they may say something like that, which is just something that, just a let's go here, little pep talk type thing. But other than that, he did. There's nothing that he can be suspended for, unlike the other cases where he should have been suspended but wasn't because everything was resolved, and I'm sure Drew Rosenhaus, you know, sweet talked the NFL into not doing anything. But and he's had 3 or 4 incidents that I mentioned the other night. But you do have Drew Rosenhaus, and of course, now I don't know if this interview with the Dan Levitard show was before this statement was made by the lawyers or after. So it may just be Drew Rosenhaus being Drew Rosenhaus and making sure he's on camera. And, it's very easy for Drew Rosenhaus to be there because I don't know if he lives in Florida. I would imagine he would because, no state income tax in Florida. And, I'm sure he was in Florida to begin with, because coincidentally he was at the Miami game, I believe. But, um, but I really feel like this interview was done before that statement was made by the lawyers. Now, mind you, even though he could do whatever he wants, he doesn't have to abide by these lawyers. He could. I mean, he's trying to make his guy look good. And he said, he was on the Dan Levitard show today, and I missed it. I probably could watch it on YouTube later tonight. Um, Drew Rosenhaus expresses disgust for the officer's treatment of his client. And mind you, yeah, it is troubling. But like I say with a lot of the stuff that goes on, I mean, I've said it about Trevor Bauer. I've said it about other people whose names are not coming to mind real quickly. The one thing I will say is just don't put yourself in that position. Plain and simple. But Drew Rosenhaus said, for me personally, I believe the police officers that did that to Tyreek shouldn't be in that position. They should be let go. Mm, maybe. I mean, with everything that's going on with police over the last 10, 15, 20 years, I could see that. So, you can argue that. You know, I would have no problem with him being fired, but I would also have no problem with him with a minor disciplinary thing on his record. I wouldn't have a problem either way. But something will have to be done because it's caught on camera. It's questionable. I think they over dramatized it a little bit, but I mean, Drew Rosenhaus here did. He said, "Look at the guy who kicked him. I didn't see a kick. Maybe I missed it. Um, that guy should be fired. That's out of control. That guy jumped in and put him in a chokehold. There's no place for a police officer to have a badge that operates like that. When Tyreek wasn't being aggressive or violent or fighting back in any capacity. Now, he was a bit out of control, but he wasn't at the point where he was fighting with an officer because the thing is, you don't know if he has a gun in his pocket, even though with the way his pants were, but you just really need to realize that, you know, cops have a job, they have a job, and I didn't see a chokehold, but maybe, but we only watched that video once. I don't want to watch it again. I just know that both sides are wrong here, and they said um, that was horrendous how they treated him. They didn't treat him like a human being. I can understand that. And he stopped short of saying Hill agreed with his stance, but added that he would have a discussion with Hill and his attorney Julius Collins. Um, so unfortunately, um, the defense side, if you want to call it that, they're gonna not say a word because you don't have to prove anything. You just have to prove to the police district and to the director that hey, he was doing what he was supposed to do. Whereas Drew Rosenhaus, Hill's lawyer, whoever will speak for him, excuse me, he will try to make Tyreek Hill not only the victim but a good guy. But we know he's had numerous incidents in the past and a cajillion baby mamas as well. So, but um, but I will tell you this, you know, we're in a day and age where um, you can flip your phone on anytime. You just put it on, put the video on, and then boom. You know, and I know you can't get a good. Well, you can see me there, so you get an idea. So, oops. Actually, I wasn't even trying. I didn't take it, and then I did. So, but you get the idea. So, I mean, it's so easy now in this world of smartphones and everything that you can just take a quick video and then upload it to YouTube and say, "Hey, look at this," or you can put it on social media, TikTok, um, X, Facebook, YouTube. You could put it all over the place, and many people probably did. It's like, holy shit! I mean, you could probably do a Facebook Live, YouTube Live. I doubt you'd do it on Twitch Live because Twitch is more gaming, but they do recognize that we do. I said do sports, so um, So you do have all that. I mean, there are millions of outlets that you can post this video live or just posting the video as a file. So you do have all that. So, um, but that is the update as of from what I've saw, and it may change. You know, we'll see what happens with that cop. Um, and I'm going to stay neutral on this. So, because I just think both sides were wrong here. But anyways, on to other news. And Penguins former quarterback Aaron Rodgers, Mr. Ayahuasca, which reminds me, I should have worn my ayahuascas for lover shirt today. Um, he ended up uh, he ended up having a game, and the Jets lost to the 49ers 32-14. Uh, I'm sorry, 32-19. My bad. So Robert Saleh said, all things considered, the current 1-0 start actually feels better than last season because your star quarterback gets hurt 3 plays into the season. Obviously, you know, it's much better knowing that you do have a lot to look forward to this year. And the Niners, and this is the reason why I played San Francisco last night. Kyle Shanahan should know the Jets defense because that was the type of defense Saleh ran when he was the DC with San Francisco a couple of years ago. Now he could put some tweaks in there, not twerks, tweaks, but you know, I wouldn't mind somebody twerking right now, female wise, um, but you do have, um, you did have a disappointing outing for Rodgers, but he did get through the game, and congratulations to Aaron Rodgers. He did survive a game, uh, and I did share a picture on Facebook today. Um, Let me find it here. And this is the type of things that I'd like to post from time to time. And I forgot you know, stuff like this is what I'd like to share. So there you go. Congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. You made it through week 1. You did it. All right. So, um, and I just realized that there's one other thing I'm going to talk about at the end of this show here. Well, actually, I'm going to put before the lose a bet thing because it's kind of a weird story, but well, probably after because it'll mesh better if I have it before. But anyways, um, Rodgers emerged unscathed. Um, Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver, said it best. They whooped our ass, plain and simple. Um, you know, uh, the Jets coach put a positive spin on the situation, or at least he tried. He insisted the offense was better than it looked and vowed to get that the defense will turn it around. And you know what? When you have San Francisco, and I think what happened was when Christian McCaffrey uh, was ruled out, obviously your game plan changes and you're not used to his backup in the game. You didn't prepare for that. That you didn't prepare for that wrinkle. So, you know, it's just San Francisco's a fine-tuned machine, and their kicker kicked 6 field goals. Um, Sauce Gardner said, they just played the Super Bowl. They're a good team. Jordan Mason shredded the Jets for 147 yards. Um, um, Now the Jets were unable to sustain drives. They only had the ball for 21 minutes and change, the lowest time of possession in Rodgers' 225 career starts. He threw an interception. Brees Hall fumbled. Alan Lazard dropped the third down pass. The Jets looked out of sync during the game. Um, and Saleh thinks that their offense is going to be pretty good this year, and I think they will. Um, they just met the wrong team at the wrong time. And I say this in baseball as well. Sometimes you catch teams at the right time. Well, you can say that about any sport. You catch a team at the right time when they're in a funk. Next thing you know, you're beating a team that's 13-3. You know, in this case, it's just first game, but you know, I guarantee you that if San Francisco and the Jets had to play another game in the regular season, I guarantee you it won't be a 32-19 game, which was not as close as the score indicated. It will be a little bit closer, I would think, whether it be in San Francisco, at the Meadowlands, or somewhere in between. I apologize for yawning there. Um, so the starting unit only generated 2 touchdowns, but they did have a drive, a 12-play, 70-yard drive, which lasted over 7 minutes. So it was longer than any drive they had last year. So I guess baby steps. Now, with the way that Aaron Rodgers can weave the ball down the field, you may not have a 7-minute drive because they're probably scoring a quick touchdown on you. Or maybe because they do have Brees Hall, who's a top running back in the league. Maybe they grind out an 8, 9, 10-minute drive because guess what? They're running the ball and they're killing clock. So that could be the case too. Um, Now, I think we're going to see this a lot this year with Aaron Rodgers. And, if you disagree with me, that's fine too. I think if a game is out of hand like last night's was, I think you are going to see Aaron Rodgers get pulled from a game. Now, I think because he did have that injury a year ago tonight, as a matter of fact. Also, the fact that, he is 40 years old. I think sometimes you got to do the smart thing. And I think Aaron Rodgers may agree with it. If the game's out of hand, you know, let's get him ready for next week. Whether you're down multiple scores late in the game or you're up multiple scores late in the game. So we will see how the Jets do this week. They take on Tennessee, and if Will Levis just randomly pitches the ball to the defense, the Jets are probably going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns as well. So I don't have a pick on that game yet. You know, the NFL picks will be on Thursday night show, as we will be also talking football as well. We'll be kind of sidecasting, kind of not, but we'll see. So, um, so the Jets do lose here. You know what? Let me fit it in now because we're talking about football. Let's go to college here for a second. Um, Now, apparently, and I saw this when I was looking around this morning, earlier today. And if you're a Facebook friend of mine, I do apologize if you see me share stupid sports story on top of stupid sports story. Only because the one reason why I do it is because a reason like tonight where I forgot to print the story out. So I can go back onto my Facebook, scroll down a little bit, and there's the article. So apparently, now it wouldn't surprise me if this is done, but I would not be surprised if it didn't happen. But um, apparently, some people have started a rumor Now, whether this is true or not, I'm not sure. Apparently, Deion Sanders reportedly told the school band not to play their fight song after his son Shador Sanders scored a touchdown or when he scores a touchdown. Instead, he told them to play his son's song after scoring a touchdown. But on three, who I saw this article from, Pete Nakos confirmed that that may not be true. Now, while Shador's song does play after every touchdown he scores, a Colorado spokesperson has cleared the air on the matter. Um, that's not true. Nobody ever asked the band to refrain from playing the fight song. After a touchdown, the band plays Glory, Glory, Colorado. And after a point after touchdown, the band plays Fight on CU, as has been standard practice for years. When Shador Sanders scores, the band will wait a moment for a small snippet of Shador's song to play before immediately going into Glory, Glory, Colorado. This is exactly what happened during the game against North Dakota State. This practice is not unique to Shador, as the band will wait a moment after a successful field goal to play Alejandro Maida's song before playing Fight CU. Um, so I don't know about you. Now, whether that is true or not, Bank Boy, welcome in. Hope you're having a good night out there. Um, I don't know about you, but I feel like this is something that sounds like something Deion Sanders would do. And I miss the Deion Sanders who was at the NFL Network. The guy who was on the Dan Patrick show, the guy who was doing interviews for whatever. But it just seems to me, and I'm on record, at least I think I am, that I don't think Deion will last a year. I don't think he'll be the head coach next year. But I really think that a um, you do have a situation here where you have to start wondering, even though he is bringing money to the school and everything else, is the money worth the aggravation? And I said that for many years about my job. It's just that now I say I need the money. Like I used to say, the money isn't worth the aggravation. But sometimes, you may have to realize that you might have to cut ties with Deion Sanders at the end of the year. I mean, whether um, that article a couple of weeks ago that I mentioned about basically the the locker room is basically Grand Theft Auto. Whether that's true or not, it's another thing. Certain reporters are not allowed to ask questions to him. It just seems like it's something that really is strange, and it's just like mass chaos. And it may work at some schools, but will Colorado put up with it? But I just think that maybe Deion Sanders met his match with teams with coaching in football. Maybe he's a great one double A coach, or FCS as it's now called. But when you're with the big boys, maybe he's not that good. And I think the loss Saturday that he had with um, he had against Nebraska, it could have been a whole bunch of things. But the offensive line wasn't doing much. The defensive line wasn't doing much. The defense couldn't stop the run. I mean, I'm starting to sound like Jim Mora. The offense couldn't do diddly poo offensively. You know, and also you got to hype Nebraska crowd because they're actually winning again. And like I said, joking around, that Nebraska hasn't been this excited about college football since a lot of those fans were on the Maury Povich show, and they found out that they did not impregnate their sisters. You are not the father. But you do have um, when you were on top of the mountain for years and years and years, and you hit that uh, that valley where you're just not winning at all. Take a look at the Phillies from 2012 to 2021. You kind of got teased a little bit, but you didn't get to the playoffs. But then 2022, you get in, and then everybody's in on the Phillies here in Philadelphia. So you do have that as well. But I get the feeling that Deion Sanders, his job may be in trouble there. I think the hot seat is going to be a little warm right now, and it's not warm because of the fact that it's probably starting to get cold there. Well, it's probably hot as hell there because of the fact that the heat dome was in the west, and Phoenix had over 100 days in a row of 100-degree weather. But um, so then on top of that, Paul Feinbaum, who is an SEC uh, reporter, has his own show on the SEC network. Um, Paul Feinbaum was on the Matt Barry show, which I think is another ESPN show. This I found on 3 Sports as well. It came up on a Google alert on my phone. Paul Feinbaum made a bold prediction about head coach Deion Sanders' future. Feinbaum said, "I don't think Deion Sanders will be there next year. This season, when they fail to get to a bowl game, he's going to look around and try to find an exit strategy. No more Travis Hunter, no more Shador Sanders. What's the motivation for him to beat himself up?" So I think enjoy the Deion show. It'll be playing somewhere next year. It may be off Broadway, it may be on Broadway, but it won't be in Boulder. So, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me either. But I get the feeling. I get the feeling, and I said it before the season started. I don't think Deion Sanders is going to be at Boulder next year. I really do. Now, whether that means he becomes an assistant in the NFL, he follows his son into the NFL, or he ends up going somewhere else, another college, you know, I think that there is, I don't think he's going to last much longer after this year. And, maybe his team gets on track, but it just seems like in order to win, especially in the Big 12, which is notorious, they're notorious for 56, 54 type games. Colorado's probably going to have to win 84, 82 because their defense doesn't stop much. But but we'll see what happens with that. And it was just an interesting thing that I saw today in passing on my phone. I was like, oh, here's a nice topic I could talk about. So it just seems like it's controversy after controversy after controversy. And you just get to the point where you just say, when is enough enough? And it may be the end of this year. Who knows? Maybe Paul Feinbaum knows something. I know nothing, but I do have that uncanny knack of saying something's going to happen and it's happened. I remember one time at work, I said, "Well, if when we had a layoff, I said, well, it's going to be probably this amount of people, however many it was." I was off that Thursday and Friday, so I didn't have to deal with you know removing them from the system and whatnot. Um, I told them that. I mean, I got questioned that Monday by the one person who used to be a manager there. And they said, "Well, how'd you know?" I'm like, "I didn't know. I was just saying, well, starting from the bottom and working my way up a little bit, you know." So that's what I was saying there. So, but it is um, I just think it's a circus there, and I think over time you want to win, and you want to win without it being a circus. And I think that it may be that Dion may have gone a little may have tried to go a little too high shooting for the stars with Colorado. I just think that even with him blowing things up with the roster a couple of years ago, 2 summers ago, basically telling everybody, "Get out, you suck." I think that maybe he may be looking for a way out. I didn't think of it that way. I thought it would be coach, you know, bring your whistle, bring everything, you're out. I think that's the thing that could happen, but I have no insiders. I'm an outsider. I admit I'm an outsider, but we'll see what happens with that. So I'm going to get to my other college football story here in a moment. But first, a little NBA here. There is a possibility the NBA could be talking expansion during this NBA year. Now, NBA Commissioner said Tuesday there was not discussion of expansion in this week's meeting of the League Board of Governors, but the topic will be addressed some point this season. Um, there was not a lot of discussion in this meeting about expansion, but only largely not for lack of interest. It was that we had said to them that we are not quite ready. So they know it's on the horizon. It's kind of like baseball. Baseball wants to expand, but you do have, you know, you, they do have the fires out with the stadium situation in Tampa Bay. They do have the issue with Oakland right now, where they're going to be playing in Sacramento for 3 years before going to Vegas. If they go to Vegas, because I still think they're going to end up somewhere else. It's just my gut feeling, or they may even just stay in Sacramento for all you know. But uh, but the NBA is looking to talk expansion sometime this NBA season, this financial year of July 1st to June 30th, I guess you can say, in terms of a year. Um, um, Adam Silver did say it was something that we told our board we plan to address this season. We're not quite ready yet, but I think there's certainly interest in the process. I think we're not there yet in terms of having made any specific decisions about markets or even, frankly, to expand. So, but the two cities that have been talked about a lot is Seattle because you know because of the Supersonics. Them They couldn't get a stadium, I believe it was, so they said, "Screw this, we're going to OKC." Because if you remember that year, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, they were forced to play at Oklahoma City, and I think they played somewhere else as well, but most of the games were in OKC. But um, you do have interest in Vegas as well, and you know basketball, you would be able to probably play at T-Mobile Arena, or yeah, I mean, if you really had to, you could probably place. I don't think you would make their own. They would make their own arena. But then again, with the way Vegas is, where the city and the county makes money hand over fist, you can here's $2 million, build a stadium. 2 billion. If I said million, I correct myself. But um, so those two cities have been floated for years now. The league is going to address expansion in a specific order, taking care of its new collective bargaining agreement, then its new television deal, which they have done. So sometime they are going to get to that point. Now, the CBA was signed in spring of 2023. Then the NCAA, Jesus Christ, the NBA came to a tentative agreement with Disney, Comcast, and Amazon this year on its new television deal, paving way for the league to begin looking at expansion over the next several months. Now, first thing it would do is form a committee of several owners to explore the topic of expansion and determine what the next steps would be. Now, I would think because you have two teams already in the West, there's going to be a team that's going to have to move to the East and probably be Minnesota. But that's years. I mean, we're still looking years down the road with that, because I mean, at least at least with a Vegas NBA expansion team, you have an arena that's ready to go with basketball. You do have T-Mobile Arena. Now, when it comes to Seattle, they do have Climate Pledge Arena, which was formerly known as Key Arena, and they Silver was asked specifically about that arena and whether the renovations the arena had undergone over the past few seasons would be enough to entice the league to return there after Seattle moved to Oklahoma City in 2008. Silver sidestepped the question, saying the league focuses on every arena. He said, the answer is yes. We're always paying attention to what's happening in other arenas throughout the United States. When we do play games there, we look very closely at the support we get in those markets. But incidentally, we look everywhere. I think we have a pretty good library now of arenas everywhere in the world. And in part because even if we're not playing there on a regular basis, there's things we can learn. So that was an interesting thing there. Um, he also talked about in his other topics, he gave an update on the Timberwolves and Boston Celtics sales. Um, um, basically, they're going to let, basically from what I'm gathering, they're going to the um, let them handle the situation itself. Um, um, Silver also talked about legalized sports betting, how he assesses the current relationship between sports leagues and betting. Um, because he was on he wrote an op-ed for the New York Times about 10 years ago, and he was for legalized gambling. He went on to say he didn't have regrets on this position. He believes regulation of the industry was necessary. He said there, I believe when it comes to sports betting, I certainly don't regret writing that op-ed piece and being in favor of legalized sports betting. I still think you can't turn the clock back. I think, as I said at that time, with the advent of the internet, widely available sports betting online, this is even before we had legalized well over 30 states now where you can bet legally, that we had to deal directly with technology and recognize that if you don't legalize sports betting, people are going to find a way to do it illegally, which is very true. Um, One thing that hasn't changed my view is being a realist about is, as you recall, because I wrote the op-ed piece, I was in favor of a federal framework for sports betting and still am. I still think that the hodgepodge of state by state, it makes it more difficult for the league to administer it. But the one thing we know, whether it's the kid who got banned from the NBA or the guy who got a year suspension in baseball, you know, and also the guys who get suspended from time to time in the NFL, they do have those programs behind the scenes that can track everything. And I don't care. You know, as long as it's on the up and up, I don't care that you're keeping tabs on everything because guess what? I want everything to be legal and on the up and up because and also with watching games, I don't want to see a guy like the guy who got banned in the NBA. I don't want him purposely leaving the game because he's sick so that he could win a bet where he faded his points total and went with the under. I don't want any of that shit. I want guys who want to play ball. You know, you question Pete Rose, and oh, he should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm like, because even though they never investigated him betting baseball as a player, he did as a manager, and he always bet on his team allegedly. But the one thing I will say is with Pete Rose, as I'm going on another tangent on tangent, the one thing with Pete Rose is um, you could very easily, if you think about it, end up, bringing in a pitcher an inning early Now, is it because of the situation of the game, or is it because you're trying to protect your winning bet? That's why Pete Rose got banned from baseball because he bet on the game, and you have to question, were these moves on the up and up, or is it because you're trying to protect something? You know, you gotta you gotta realize what the modus operandi is with that. So that's why the main reason why that they have all these programs that can keep track of everything, and if there is a red flag that comes up, the leagues are notified, and I'm okay with that. You know, I want to be able to watch a football game and not have to worry if somebody took somebody fell down because he actually fell down, or was it just something funny at the end of the game. Now, granted, you do have those situations that I'm sure we're going to see a couple of times this year where it appears that somebody's going in for the touchdown and they give themselves up at the 1 or 2 yard line. Now, and of course, it's always a situation where fantasy football's involved, your wagers are involved, all that stuff. But the one thing is, that's the only time that I'm okay with the player, taking a knee at the 1 or 2 yard line instead of going in for the touchdown because, the clock continues to run, especially if that team is out of timeouts or they have one timeout left and it's under the last 2 minutes. Because guess what? If you do that, you win the game. You don't have to worry about, you know, I mean, how many times have we talked about, well, not me on the show, but, the miracle at the Meadowlands? How often do you hear that come up? A million times. So I definitely feel like you do have, um, there are times when you question things, and there's times where you don't question things. Now you're going to bitch and moan because your guy could have scored a touchdown and that would have won you the fantasy league championship, but instead of getting 60% of the pie or whatever the pie is, you're getting 20%. Womp womp womp. So you do have that, and you can question, and there's times where you just complain. But there was a story that I saw tonight, which was pretty interesting. Apparently, there's a new way of harassing players who have a bad game. And apparently, you look the player up on Venmo. And I'm sure you can do the same on Cash App, PayPal, whatever. But Auburn senior quarterback Peyton Thorne, not Peyton Manning, because Peyton Manning has a huge forehead, but Peyton Thorne said on Tuesday that criticism after losses such as Saturday's defeat to California has included requests for money from bettors. He appeared on the next round and said the bettors have messaged him on Venmo asking for money. Come on, people. I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, it's just like now, you know, you know, you got what you got Bryce Harper with a home run tonight. I had Kyle Schwarber for a homer, so thankfully I got that before he got hurt. Let's say you have Bryce Harper anytime home run, and you had that play where it looked like the ball was going over anyway, but the fan reached over, grabbed the ball, and it was a really bad, it was a real fuzzy camera angle, and they determined it was the fan reached over and interfered on a double. So Harper only got a double on the play. Um, but he did, because he's had bad luck because he said he's had problems with his right elbow, and that's the one he swings that's facing the pitcher. Um, it's like the third time he's had a ball which just missed a home run by about that much, whether it's fan interference or when they were in Toronto, I believe. No, it was in Miami. Ball hit the very top of the fence, the padding on the top of the fence, and bounced back, which meant it was in play. So he's had bad luck, but um, things, you know, the way it is right now. I mean, but if you had Harper anytime home run, you know, are you going after the umpire? Are you going after Harper because his elbow's bothering him? Are you going after the kid who reached for the ball? I mean, that's the way it is now because the way sports betting is, you can bet these props like I did tonight with Kyle Schwarber, you know, and I joked around uh, posting on the picket. I said, you know what? I love when, or I said it on Discord as well. Gotta love these first inning home runs. Now I gotta wait 3 hours for my money because you gotta wait for the game to become official. You gotta wait for the game to become final. You know, but thankfully it's not a situation where you have 25 inning games anymore because of the ghost runner rule. But um, it does. I mean, with the way that with these prop wagers and everything else, fans are showing their displeasure with, for example, going to Venmo, finding the person, and saying, "Hey, look, I want money back for that money that for that 4 INT performance that you had against California this week, like what happened to this quarterback." Um, Now, Thorne said, and I think it was a bit joking around with the way that he said this. They're definitely not sending cash. Now, he had 4 interceptions in a 21-14 loss to Cal on Saturday. Okay, he did say that part with a chuckle. He said it's funny when they lose money, they want their money back. But when they win money on a parlay, no one's ever sent me any of that money. I mean, he's got a point there. You know, Now, granted, if I hit a big parlay or I hit a pick four at the racetrack, I'll give the person some money for cashing it. I'm not going to be a total dick, even though some will argue that I am. Shut up, Penguin, and shut up, Mike, if you're in the room. Uh, but um, Now Thorne had made light of the request for money during his appearance, but the issue is something the NCAA is monitoring and trying to combat. Results of a study by Signify, an artificial intelligence company and NCAA partner, found that 1 in 3 high profile college athletes receive messages from individuals with a betting interest. Now, here's the thing, if you're doing something like that, please dial 1-800 Gambler. Thank you. I mean, even though I talk a good game when it comes to gambling, horse racing as well. Now, I went on that rant at the end of April when the one jockey cost me a 30% win ratio, a win percentage for the month. Now, well, was I really going to do something about that? No. Was I bitching about it when I went on lunch? Yeah. But you know what? It never went to the jockey who decided, hey, I'll send him along the rail, which was deader than O.J. Simpson. I think O.J. Simpson was still alive back then. No, he was dead. But you know, you know, the thing is, And I'm not going to say something to the jockey. He might say something to me first. That's something different. But if I initiate something by saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know, I want to come back to the racetrack. I don't want to be banned because some 110-pound guy pissed me off because he lost me money. Now, there's talking about it on a podcast like this is, and then there's people that go above and beyond where those people are going above and beyond, like whoever this person is that contacted this quarterback. You need help. Help is out there. 1-800 Gambler. And I don't say that because we talk gambling here. I'm saying it because part smart ass smart, part, you know, you, and telling that person you do have a problem if you're doing something like that. But now, at the request of the NCAA, Maryland, Louisiana, Ohio, and Vermont are among states that have banned sportsbooks from offering prop bets on college players. And I can tell you, Pennsylvania, they have that ban in place because I've looked for like a year and a half and I watch some streams on here. I'll watch Bridget Case's stream on Twitch. I'll watch a couple others. Um, she'll say, "Oh, anytime TD for this running back," or maybe Travis Hunter of Colorado. Well, look, there are no individual props like that because you can't do that in the state of Pennsylvania. And I'm okay with that. It's just I'll root you home if you have a wager, but I'm not going to, just because I can't doesn't mean that I can't root for you. It's just that I can't place a wager and tail you with the wager. So, but and even golfer Max Homa said bettors tracked down his Venmo account and requested money from him multiple times per week. And he said it gets old, and rightfully so. And it's just do you really why are you doing this? It's just so stupid, and it just shows that you have a problem. And you know that's why when I give you my picks, which is going to be tonight as well, the one thing I will tell you is these are free picks. I'm not going to turn into a tout service where I'm going to charge you $59.99 for a pick that's probably going to lose. I got a text here from somebody here. So the one thing I will say is, and I am very open with, my horse racing stuff, my um, my horse racing stuff, my gambling stuff here. When I give you my picks, hey, look who it is. It's SJ. She texted me like 10 seconds ago. The one thing I will tell you guys, I'm not afraid to telling you this. SJ went 4 for 4 today. Good job. I went 1 for 1 today. It's just that I had to wait 3 hours for that Kyle Schwarber home run to cash because it was a first inning home run. But, I am not afraid to tell you, um, I am not afraid to tell you, bet within your means, all that stuff that I tell you every single day, every single week. I'm not afraid to tell you this is rent week. I'm not playing, but if I did, these are my picks. If you want to fade them, go ahead. If you want to play them, go ahead. Or if you think I'm out of my mind and you don't want to do either side, then don't do it. You don't have to play these bets. These are a fun thing that I do, and it's something that I do for fun. And even my horse racing articles are mostly for fun. I do occasionally play them once in a while. May not be for $20 to win, but you know, and I'll tell you that life gets in the way. You lose track of time, and sometimes you don't play the race. Like they always say, stuff happens, and um, you know, there is some things that do get in the way. Life gets in the way. You know, SJ gets in the way. I'm only kidding. I would just leapfrog over her because she's a short person. And I saw her par putt earlier today. Um, you know, she is going to be trying out for the LPGA Tour in a couple years, I believe. Uh, at least that's the rumor that I hear from the Waterbury Open. And if you don't know what the Waterbury Open is, you got to watch Happy Gilmore. And they're going to have a second Happy Gilmore. I don't know why, but they are. But but like I tell you, you know, bet within your means. And I'm not afraid of telling you it's rent week or I'm doing certain things. I can't bet, but if I would, these are my picks because these picks, even though if it leads to something, maybe it leads to, getting picked up by DraftKings or FanDuel. Now I may have to transition into a woman, which may not be a good thing because, I'm a pretty ugly man. I can imagine me being an even uglier woman. And also, I don't think they would pick up a 51-year-old woman for their platforms because I know why they do it. You know, you get an attractive woman who knows her stuff, allegedly, whereas SJ knows her shit. Why she has been picked up by FanDuel or Mohegan Sun or uh, DraftKings or whatever, why? I don't know. Maybe it's just because she hasn't said, "Hey, here's my stuff," you know. But you do have, but she is, she went 4 for 4 tonight, you know, and there's going to be days where, I went 3-2 last week on last Thursday's show. It just happens to be that there's going to be weeks where I'm going to go 0-5, and there's going to be weeks where I'm 18-0. All right, 18's a little exaggerated, but you get the idea. But you know, they're trying to draw whether it's FanDuel by signing Minty Betts, not her real name, by the way. I don't know what her real name is. And then DraftKings hired SJ. You know the name. I'm sure you're listening to somebody else here. Taylor something or other. Uh, Taylor Taylor Mathis. That's who it is. So, Taylor Mathis, she had a big blow up a couple of weeks ago where somebody didn't like that she was doing their walking bets, which this other person said she started. And you know what? Unless you have a copyright or trademark on it, I'll do walking bets if I have to. Now, granted, it won't be as fun as Taylor Mathis because, she's female, enough said. You can imagine where I'm going to go with that, but I won't because I want to try to be professional. And I know SJ will say, "When have you ever been professional?" Almost never. Uh, but you do have, um, you do have these opportunities here to see some people in action. You know what? And you can criticize even Aaron Dolan at ESPN, who came up yesterday came up on last night's show because I was talking about Alec Boehm possibly bleeding that Philly. But um, and SJ says, when you're done, come watch this debate. Actually, you know what I did? I actually DVR'd it because I knew I was going against it. So I will probably watch it tomorrow because of the fact that I won't be able to watch the replay. I won't be able to watch the replay on CNN or whatever because I have to get up early for my first day of vacation. Um, and also, I did finally get my blood test results at like 2 o'clock this afternoon because of the fact that, oh, and I got to rant about this. This is something I wanted to rant about yesterday. So I make my appointments online, and what I've been doing is my appointment is usually with my doctor on a Wednesday. Always has been for whatever reason. It's just the way it worked out. So I go a couple of weeks in advance because if I don't put it in, I'm just going to forget. And that's what happened the one time. I had to cover my ass and say, "Oh, I can't make the appointment. Can you make it a month from now?" So the one thing I will say is, and I think it was because of the situation at my lab court I went to. And mind you, it's probably the waiting area is probably the size of my living room and it's very small. But when I went on there a couple of weeks ago, there was 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock, 9:15. I mean, most of the morning was open at the time. They must have had a shit ton of walk-ins yesterday morning because I couldn't even get a seat in the waiting room because there's so many goddamn people there. Now, here's the thing that I don't like, and I'm sure SJ will probably say, Joe, you're wrong. And if I'm wrong, so be it. I made my appointment ahead of time. My opinion is if you have walk ins, because they had to be walk ins because they said to call me to the back so that I can give them my insurance, my ID, paying for it outside of the insurance I have. They announced me as Joseph with the appointment. So there may have been another Joseph in the room. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like if I have a 9:15 appointment like I did, I should be seen to have my blood drawn by 9:15. And there has been situations where I get there early enough, I get to go 15 minutes early because there's nobody at 9 o'clock and there's no walk-ins. But there were so many walk-ins at this lab core that I actually had to wait till like almost I had to wait like 15, 20 minutes just to get my blood drawn. Now, thankfully, because this was the trip to LabCorp that I had to pee in a cup as well, thankfully, they pulled me back. They got my information. They verified everything with me, where I live, what my phone number is. And by the way, SJ, you are more than welcome to stalk me, by the way. Uh, but but seriously, you know, thankfully, now granted, I wasn't dancing the pee pee dance like most kids do because kids have to wait to the very last second to take a leak. It's just like, all right, well, bathroom spot right over there on your right. Do your thing, drop the cup off, and then go back to the lobby, and we'll call you. Now, granted, I just think, and maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, so be it. Why do I have to wait? 15, 20 minutes for these walk-ins when they can just go to the website, or I'm sure you could do it on the, I think you can do it on the toll free number because there is a toll free number that I've seen for appointments. You can make your appointment that way. But instead, walk in number one, walk in number two, walk in number three. Oh shit, it's 9:25. I didn't even write my article yet for today. Now, granted, I got it done in time, but I just think that maybe I'm blowing things out of proportion, and maybe it's because of my work schedule and everything else with that. Maybe, maybe it's just that I have to be punctual for my job. That it's brainwashed me over the last 25 years that I am, um, maybe I'm brainwashed by that. And if I am, so be it. Um, I'm just peeking here on. Okay, I don't see anything new there. Okay, because I never know if if X is working with chats, and I probably should watch watch that chat again just to see if anybody responds like live, like I did a couple times, and then a couple people responded. But I just think, and the great thing is now you can comment on my X at Joe Quills. You can comment on YouTube if you want as well. If I'm wrong, feel free. You know, I understand first come first serve. That's understandable. But what if I showed up at 8:45 and I have a 9:15 appointment and there's all those walk-ins? Am I going to be sitting there 45 minutes probably doing a pee-pee dance because it's like, "Oh my god," because I knew it was coming, but the doctor didn't tell me about it. I just knew from past experience over going to that doctor, you know. I don't know. If I'm wrong, so be it. Just let me know. And if I'm right, you don't have to stroke my ego. You can just say, "All right, I guess you're right." Whatever. You don't even have to do that. But if you're wrong, within reason, but don't be like these assholes that end up going to an athlete and saying, "Hey, you lost me money. Give me my money for that um, wager." Whatever. But you get the idea. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So be it. Now, I am going to give you my pick for Thursday night. I do want to check one thing here first. Um, and I talked about now Tyreek Hill is also calling for that officer who escalated the situation to be fired as well. So just giving you an update on that as well. We played that video last week, or last night, I should say. So I'm just checking one thing here before we get to. Um, okay, so Josh Allen is cleared to go for um, Thursday Night Football, and I figured he would because it's his left hand. It's not his right hand. He hurt his left hand, so it isn't that big of a deal. So let me go here. So I will give you my pick for the Thursday night game. Um, Actually, I'm going to give you a college game too. I think. Just check one other thing here. Um, I do want to check one thing here before I give that pick out. Where is it? Oh, no wonder why I can't find it. Okay, so here we go. SJ Pineapple. Um, all right, I got it, SJ. Don't worry. Um, so just to let you know, we did have a spammer in here. There you go. Quick mention that it did happen, but I don't give them the glory. It's just like 0.5 seconds of fame, But I did delete that, SJ, so don't worry about that. So, um, I'm going to give you a college and a pro pick here tonight. Let's begin with college because this is what I was looking at here. And SJ, I guess I will post this on your Discord as well so you can keep track of things, even though it's not anything, excuse me, it's not anything major. This is just more fun than anything else. But, just to let you know, I did get this person for you. I know you love doing that, but I beat you to it tonight. So, first game I'm going to go with is, well, first of all, I got to show my screen here just to make it legit. Okay, Arizona State goes to Texas State for a game. And I need to show my screen, you dumbass. So, Arizona State goes to Texas State, wherever Texas State is in Texas. Um, Arizona State's a 2-point favorite on the road. Texas State blew out UTSA last week, and UTSA may be on a down year, but they've had a history of doing great things in the American Conference the last couple of years. Now, I'm probably riding high here, so I'm going to ride the Texas State bandwagon. I think the Sun Belt Conference is an underrated conference. It's really growing steam the last couple of years. Yeah, Coastal Carolina in the top 25, and other teams in the top 25 over the last 4 or 5 years. Um, you know what? Let's go for the upset here. I'm not going +2 here because the chances of winning this +2 bet at -112 and not winning the game is pretty slim. So instead of that, if you feel that Texas State is going to be going to win this game or have a close game with Arizona State, if you think they're going to be close, the chances of covering and not winning are pretty slim. So why waste 12% of the VIG on this wager when you can receive an extra 5% back by going +105 on the money line here? So, and that's what I'm going to do here. Going with the money line here, Arizona State, Texas State, that is, my +105 over Arizona State tomorrow night in college football. And oh, by the way, look at that. UNLV's playing tomorrow on Friday, SJ. Uh, might have to pick that game just to annoy you. Then we go to the NFL, Thursday night football, Bills and Dolphins. Bills, they got kicked by Arizona, but they came back to win. Dolphins, they had everything going on with um, um, with Tyreek Hill, Calais Campbell, Jonnu Smith. I think OBJ was also involved at one point, but they have a Thursday night game. Buffalo has to go south. Now, it's still going to be hot, but I don't think it's going to be insanely hot. I mean, you might even see Miami wearing their aqua uniforms. Um, I'm going to take Miami here. I think Miami's going to win this game. I think they're going to shore some things up here. And usually with a Thursday night game, you go with the home team, and I'm going to do that here. So Miami -2.5 at -110. And college, I'm going Texas State +105 on the money line. And those are my two picks for Thursday night because I will not be on the air tomorrow night. But next week, we will begin Wednesday night shows. And it's just a coincidence that it is a certain milestone day. We won't get into that yet. But, we'll worry about that next week. So now, one last thing I want to mention. We lost a legend yesterday. And my coworkers and former coworkers have been posting pictures um, because of the passing of James Earl Jones, who we know from The Lion King, uh, Field of Dreams, um, you know, Star Wars, all those movies. I mean, he did so much stuff over his long career, and he had such a distinctive voice. And I shared somewhere, I don't know where, I think it was on Twitter today or X. He recited the national anthem at the 1993 All-Star game. I'm not going to play it. If it is on X, just find me at Joe Quills. It's not too far down. But, the one thing I will tell you guys is I did cross paths with James Earl Jones. Now, because I work at Redacted Company, and for some people that may be older, I doubt SJ realizes this, but not only was James Earl Jones the voice of CNN, he was also a voice. Um, he was also doing commercials and voice work for Redacted Company. So the one thing is, James Earl Jones did go to different offices around the country. And he came to our office not only just for visiting the office, he actually came on Halloween, which was funny as hell because all the people that were Star Wars fans, they were dressing up as Darth Vader, Chewbacca, whatever. So everybody got dressed up. So I've been seeing those pictures this week, and three or four of my friends had them and posted. I was in a picture with them. I don't know where that picture went. You know, I'm a dope. So, but I can say that I did meet James Earl Jones at my job at Redacted Company, and I mean, you could probably just go on his IMDb and be like, oh, he was in that. Oh, he was in that. I mean, he did so much stuff. You know, it just makes me, since I'm on vacation now, it makes me want to look for some of his works. And I'm sure SJ will fall out of her chair when she hears this, if she's paying attention, because she's probably paying attention to the debate. I might have to watch Star Wars, which I've never seen. Well, I think I've seen like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, but not from beginning to end even one of the movies. So, but you do have um, so many options that you can go with James Earl Jones. But when I saw that, I was like, oh man. But you realize he was 93 years old. He had a full life and then some. But I failed to mention that last night, and I do apologize because you do play. You know how they play the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? Well, I am 1 degree with James Earl Jones. Or I should say was now, but you know, um, it was you know, thought it'd be, if I didn't mention him the night, I knew I wasn't going to mention Thursday night, but so many different things that he did over the years, you know, even the voice work because he had such a distinctive voice, and also because he was a stutterer as well. You know, if he was able to get out of that extreme stutter that he had and ended up being the guy that he was, and being the guy you want to hear talk, you know, it just shows that anything is possible. Kind of like SJ's Boston Celtics with Kevin Garnett when she was probably about 2 years old. Anything is possible. All right, she was three, not two, but you get the idea. But the one thing I would say is definitely, you know, you know, I might actually watch some James Earl Jones this week because I'm off for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks now, and I could hear when I talked to my manager today when he did his monthly performance review. Um, and you know what? Mike's here, and he says, "So God has a voiceover agent." Matter of fact, I think I shared this on Facebook today. Um, and I see here people are commenting about the debate here. Um, let me see if it's on here or not. Um, oh yeah, here it is. I shared it about 10 hours ago, and the Babylon Bee is now what the Onion was years ago. They'll put on a spoof story here, and Mike was talking about this, so this is probably where it got it from. Um, Fuck it, I'll share my screen again. You know, I like a good laugh, and I'll share these Babylon Bee stories, even if I'm not going to read the article for last. But uh, let me zoom in on that so that everybody can see it. And that's what I was talking about earlier about um, Aaron Rodgers. Congratulations, Aaron Rodgers. You did it. You made it through week one. But here it is. That's just what Mike is talking about here. God announces he will now be voiced by James Earl Jones. So even in a time where we lose a legend, the Babylon Bee does have a funny story there. So that's probably where Mike got it from. And yeah, he is the voice of CNN, of Redacted Company, and like Mike says, he will be missed. Um, he had a full life and then some. My God, he was 93 years old. Got through that stuttering thing, you know, severe case of stuttering, and he ended up doing some amazing things in his life. So we will probably be on a James Earl Jones kick the next couple of weeks while I'm off. So, um, so before I close up shop, if anybody wants to add anything else here, feel free to do so. And if it's worth mentioning, I will. But just give you a rundown of the sports here tonight. Um, USA tied New Zealand in a friendly 1-1. Uh, Sun leads the Sparks 43-29. SJ, do you have the Sun tonight? The Liberty defeated the Wings 105-91, and the Lynx defeated the Dreams 76-64. And for the sport that Mike cares about right now, baseball, in progress, Oakland and Houston is tied 2-2 going into extra innings. Padres lead the Mariners 3-2 in the fifth. Rangers are down 4-0 to the Diamondbacks. Brewers are up 2-1 on the Giants. Dodgers and Cubs are 1-1 in the bottom of the third. That is a game that everybody will be watching here in Philadelphia because the Phillies have a tiebreaker over the Dodgers, having gone 5-1 against the Dodgers. So if they tie, the Phillies have home field advantage over the Dodgers. Earlier games, the Tigers destroyed the Rockies 11-0. Tigers are getting hot. They're only 3 games out of the wild card coming into today, so look out for them. Pirates edged the Marlins 6-4. Braves beat up on the Nationals 12-0. Royals beat the Yankees 5-0. Blue Jays beat the Mets 6-2. Orioles defeat the Red Sox 5-3. Twins beat the Angels 10-5. Guardians beat the White Sox 5-0. White Sox lose their 113th game of the year. They're on pace to lose 120. And the Reds shut out the Cardinals 3-0. So, um, and Mike's going to comment about the Star Wars thing because that's probably when he came in, or he was just silent the whole time. Mike says, "I thought you saw Star Wars. You may always say in July, maybe the fourth be with you." Well, I try to, and then I bring up the Catholic Church stuff where I am scarred for life of the Catholic Church, not because of "Oh suffering children come unto thee," but because, you know, may the fourth be with you and also with you, even though they changed that a few years ago, which, it's kind of like, and I'll probably burn in hell a little bit crispier with this comment. The Catholic Church and the way that they do masses, even though I don't go to mass anymore because, I'm an NPC, not practicing Catholic. Um, every once in a while, and hey, chairman of the board, he's rating us. Welcome in. Hope everybody had fun there. I guarantee you, chairman of the board was doing the debate thing tonight. So, um, yeah. So I've never watched Star Wars. Uh, there you go, chairman of the board, and the emojis won't show up on there, but if you're watching on Twitch, you see them. So, yeah. And my streak is over. My streak of however many shows in a row because I did not see your thing, your alert there. I would have hopped in for like 5-10 minutes just to say hi and make sure I got my streak to extend. But hey, got to end sometime. It's kind of like my Wordle streak that died at 40 some in a row because I forgot to play one day last week. But it happens. But, and I'm sure it'll be on the news and I'm going to watch it, even though my mind is set on who I'm voting for. Um, I'm voting for Daffy Duck, by the way. Uh, but seriously, um, one of my friends did say on Facebook tonight, Are you really watching this to see who you want to vote for? But I'm sure there's some people that are like, but whatever happened happened, and I'll probably watch it tomorrow. Um, you know, and Mike thought the same thing as me. Me and Mike think way too alike, and that may be, even though me and Mike on a Monday night will probably be funny as hell, it'll also be pretty boring as well because if me and Mike think alike too much, you're gonna be like, "Come on, man, you gotta change things up a little bit. You can't agree with everything with him." But me and Mike think way too much alike, and it's a good thing too. Um, um, yeah, and chairman of the board is doing what I'm going to be doing tomorrow when I start my vacation. Uh, I wasn't watching to decide who to vote for. I just wanted to see how they did. Yeah, and I'm just going to say one thing, and take whatever it is here, and I'm not going to turn this into a political thing. I think because of the fact that you do have one candidate, Trump, who in previous debates in the past was disruptive, to put it nicely. They had to mute the microphones again tonight. And I don't know if this is something that's going to happen in 4 years from now when the next go round of the presidency, or maybe we have people that are just wound differently. And I don't want you to say who won the debate because and the thing is, SJ could say um, somebody else. I feel this candidate won. Chairman will say the other way, possibly. Mike will say, me. I just like Chairman said. I just want to see how they do, um, how they did, and you know, this isn't a no spoiler thing. Like don't spoil to me, Mike, that what happens at the end of Star Wars. Uh, all of them. You know what I mean. I'm over exaggerating because you brought up Star Wars again. But, I would basically say that, I will be watching it tomorrow because I won't be able to watch the replay because I think they were played on CNN. And, I think another thing is thankfully tomorrow sometime, I would imagine those streets that they blocked off just to make sure you had a secure perimeter around the Constitution Center, or as I like to call it sometimes, the Constipation Center. Um, you do have a um, you do have a they did have a perimeter, just a secure area that you could have the debate and do what you have to do there. So, um, but yeah, it's you know, and I'm not a person that's going to talk politics or anything like that. I'm just going to be a person that just, you know, I will take the debate. I mean, I'll take my opinions at the debate and I'll hold them close to the vest because I'm not going to start any trouble here. Because guess what? When you start talking politics, especially within the last 12, 16 years that we've had social media, it just gets worse and worse with every 4 year cycle. Where if something hints just that much about, it leans a little bit left, then everybody on the right's going to be pissed off. And then if you say something that leans that little to the right, then the left gets pissed off. Well, guess what? I prefer to be out on the other side of the. I prefer to be out in center field, and yeah, I know. Guess what? SJ is going to probably make me do tomorrow. We need commands. Well, if not tomorrow, uh, um, Now, now, without going too far into this, Mike, because I kind of don't want to know what happened on the debate, even though I know who I'm voting for and all that, and it's not because somebody's pressuring me into that. I can make my own decision, and I'm not afraid of voting. Um, so, by the way, Mike says, by the way, Chris Christie called. He said the joke about him was not funny. Now, is it my joke, or did somebody joke about Chris Christie on the debate? And the joke is about him running, which sounds like something that I would have said. Because the one thing I said was Chris Christie should not run for political office. Yeah, my joke. Okay. Because I joke around and say, but I am a fat person, but I'm not insanely fat like he is. I'm about, if, you know, if Chris Christie got to my weight, he would be singing that song, I'm Half the Man I Used to Be, whatever that title is, that grunge song. I think it's a grunge song. I'm half the man I used to be. I think it's Nirvana. Now I'm going to have to be playing Nirvana all night just to figure out what that song is. But, um, and if somebody has a clue there. But yeah, I know. I do come up with some jokes that, you know, are somewhat distasteful, like Chris Christie to fat people, saying he shouldn't run for political office. He should walk because he might have a heart attack, you know. But the thing is, and Michael vouched for me, I am an equal opportunity offender. Just because Chris Christie is a Republican and I'm registered as a Democrat, but that's only because, and of course, Mike liked to joke because he is a sick motherfucker like me. Uh, but, um, you know, but the one thing is, Pennsylvania is a closed primary state. So when you go to the polls, you can only vote Democrat if you're a Democrat. Or if you're a Republican, you can only vote Republican. And if you're independent or some sort of a third, fourth, fifth party, even though they just call it third party, you just get to vote the the questions on the side. You know, do you agree with raising funds for this? Do you agree with the adaptation of this office and other stuff like that? But the thing is, Pork Chop, welcome in. Pork Chop is my buddy out on the West Coast. He is one of our good friends from the Free for All show and Daffy Duck for president. And the one thing I like about mail balloting, even though um, I don't have any. Oh, and by the way, before I continue the thought, first of all, follow chairman of the board. He's got some good stuff on there, even if it's political. I still listen in, even though I may not agree with everything. And also follow Pork Chop. Now, I haven't seen him on too much lately, but he's a damn good musician. I will tell you that. So, just want to tell you that as well. So, follow him, follow Chairman, and you know, um, and also follow SJ because I'm trying to get her back to streaming because she's one of the two people that I really look up to. Now, granted, if I'm in the same room as SJ, she's looking up at me because she's like, yay, hi. But, when it comes to SJ, I do look up to her as a streamer, with all the things that she did and, how she grew her, uh, um, uh, yeah. And like he said, he does do some racing and, some of the racing shows that he did, the racing video game show were hilarious. Um, and also he does play a mean guitar. And, I just wonder if he plays a mean pinball as well. Uh, Now I don't know if he does play Pinball Wizard or not, but we'll find out one day. But give Pork Chop a follow. Uh, Very average at pinball, haha. But this is why I'm having fun with this, and before the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network is fully launched, we're gonna have a night like this every once in a while where we go over the 2 hour mark like we just did, and we're gonna have fun with this. So um, now we would have already been off the air about 5 minutes already because it is 11:03, and I'm not complaining because I am on vacation. And I probably shouldn't have said that with Mike around because he'll probably be saying, "Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? I need to get away from the wife." All right, he doesn't say that exactly, but But the one thing I will tell you guys is I do appreciate everybody, and you know, but the one thing I will say is the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network is coming up soon. The digital radio station will be on bleacherbrothers.com. You'll be able to download it on iOS and on Android. So let's say you're taking a 3 hour drive, a 3 hour tour, and you realize, oh shit, it's 9 o'clock Eastern. Joe's show is on. I could pop open the app, hit play, boom, you can listen to my show. Or you can listen to anybody else's show that'll be on there. Or you want to listen to me talk about horses on Saturday mornings, boom. But the one thing I would say is once that's up, give all the people there support there because it's more than just me. Apparently, I am a team player. Like I said for years, it's you know th- there's no I in team, but there's me, and without me, there is no team. But seriously, um, you know, like I said to somebody, and it's a stupid statement that I made, but it kind of makes sense. Right now, I'm a drop in the bucket, but one day I want to be the bucket. You know, but hopefully that makes sense. But if it doesn't, then so be it. But um, we do have a lot of fun coming up over the next couple of weeks, and even when BBSN does launch, so I will keep you in the know. Um, and Pork Chop says obligatory MLS comment: Philly got a tough end of the season to get above the playoff line. Now, if if Messi is not playing on Saturday, and I might have to research this, that Philly Miami game may be a pick in the Philly fade on Thursday night. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But of course, I'm going to have to do research on that, which I really don't feel like doing. But and I may forget about the game as well because I thought the game was last week. Here they were doing um, the national team weekend, so nobody played any league games that I know of. I think there was one or two MLS games, but it wasn't really that big. But but Pork Chop is a huge Portland Timbers fan. Uh, and as far as he knows, Messi is still questionable. Now, it is a home game, but it all depends upon his ankle because he had that ankle injury, um, whatever tournament it was, the um, the CONCACAF tourney. Um, he got injured near the end of the game, and um, for whatever reason, they weren't icing it down. He was on the bench, but he was just sitting there with his shoe off. And when you have a sprain like that, or whatever the situation was, shit blows up. You do get it does blow up on you. So you would figure you would ice it, but every time they showed him, he wasn't icing it. But maybe it was just coincidence that it was probably because they do say 15 on, 15 off with the ice. Maybe it was in a 15-minute period where he wasn't icing it, but whatever. But yeah, you still have to beat Suarez, and you also got to watch for his big ass teeth too, if that's the Suarez that you're talking about. Pork Chop is really in tune with the MLS, so you know maybe if I talk soccer if I talk soccer, I might have to talk to pork chop here. Um, is there a betting line on how long till he bites someone? Um, I hear he might give Joey Chestnut a run for the money. Yeah, I did watch that on Labor Day. I did watch that. Um, it was the whole programming was weird, but but you finally got down to it, and Joey Chestnut did win by about 10 hot dogs, I think it was. But 80 hot dogs is insane. I know. I get to two or three and I'm full. But they did it a little differently. They didn't allow them to dunk the hot dog and bun in the water, so they thought that would slow them down. It didn't. But Joey Chestnut's a freak, and he probably lost the weight 6 hours later by taking a monstrous dump that cleared out Lake Mead. But 80 hot dogs is insane. So, but yeah, it's but I'll talk most sports. I may not know as much about MLS like Pork Chop does. I may not know um, WNBA or NBA like SJ does. Um, you know, I'm really tuned into baseball right now. I got the Phillies hat um, with the alternate City Connect logo. Phillies are did win tonight 9-4. They also had a bench clearing incident. Um, uh, did they announce that? Um, yeah, and the way that they do the standings in the WNBA, it doesn't matter if it's East or West, but when you expand. So, because I know that they're expanding to San Francisco, they're expanding to Toronto. Oh, not official, but it's just a matter of time, matter of announcing it now. And you know what? And this is why I think if baseball expands, Portland has a great shot at it because, and it from living in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, in terms of Major League Baseball, is all by themselves. Um, and Mike says kudos to the WNBA for growing the game. Yeah. And who knows? They may even make a profit this year off of it, thanks to Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and others that came into this draft class. Um, but the one thing I will tell Pork Chop, I think I might have mentioned it before. I would not rule out Portland because if you think about it, Seattle is all by themselves, and they'll be even more ostracized from the rest of the country because, well, not really, because they're moving to Oakland's moving to Sacramento for a couple of years, so it's not as bad. Yeah, that flight from Seattle to Sacramento and back is Seattle and Sacramento is not that bad. I actually did that once when I was flying home from Seattle on Southwest. They had me flying through Shaking My Fucking Head Airport, SMF it's called, but I call it Shaking My Fucking Head Airport. Kind of like Michael J. Fox, but but um, but yeah, like Mike said, kudos to WNBA for growing the game, and you know, I think I guarantee you the NBA didn't think it would take this long, but with the fact that you can watch sports a million different ways now. I mean, remember when? I mean, Mike knows this. Pork Chop might. SJ probably. Uh, maybe Bank Boy does. I definitely know me and Mike are in the same boat. We had NBC, ABC, CBS, and then maybe we had an independent channel or two on UHF here in Philadelphia. But other than that, until Fox became a network in the 80s, we only had three networks and we probably only had six channels. And that was before cable. So, and also you didn't worry about, it wasn't like, oh, well, and Mike agrees with me because we're in the same boat. We're old. Um, the one thing I will say is when you have um, when you have shows back in those days, it was appointment TV if you wanted to watch a particular show, especially until they came up with the VCR in the 80s, I believe it was. It was appointment TV. It's like, oh shit, I can't miss this episode. I need to see blank, whatever the show was that you wanted to watch. MASH, let's say, or, you know, Love Boat, or All in the Family, or The Jeffersons. And I think I'm showing my age with that. It was, we got to watch it. And part of the reason why that the ratings are down year over year on the Nielsen ratings is because there are so many different things that you can watch. I mean, it's no longer three networks. It's four, five, six networks on regular TV, plus those added stuff that you get with your digital antenna. And then you have all the cable channels. And then on top of that, let's add all the stuff that you can get through these different streaming services. I mean, you got so many options now. You don't have time to even think about wanting to watch them because, and also now, let's say there's a new episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I missed it. Okay. Well, guess what? It's going to be on Hulu the next day. Uh, I will go one step further. I will say super saturated. And, but the thing is, not everybody's going to watch the same thing. Everybody's going to watch different things, whether it's a drama, a comedy, you know, or you may want to pull up Pornhub. Everybody's going to watch what they want, and there's options now, and that's the reason why. Like for example, with the World Series, the ratings are at an all-time low. Now, first of all, Major League Baseball screwed up the ratings with going to a regional format, but also there's also so many different things you can watch, and then on top of that, these baseball games are getting over 11:30 at night. Those kids got to go to school tomorrow. Got to go to school the next day. So, you know, but there's so many different factors with everything, but what I'm just saying is probably one factor of a million with the way television is now. But also, you can just watch the show the next day if you really want to watch it and you missed it. Or if you really want to, you can just binge watch something. Like, somebody may want me to watch Star Wars now nonstop. And then somebody will probably tell me, why are you watching that shit? Watch Star Trek instead. The next thing you know, I'm watching to see how many words um, William Shatner had because he was a person that counted the words on his script to make sure that he had the most words because he was so egomaniacal back then. But but you got to realize that there's so many options now, and uh, Rerun's younger cousin is on demand. Got to help me with that, Mike, because I know who Rerun is. what's happening, but I know I'm missing something here, so help me out here. TV reruns. Geez. Okay. I thought you were going what's happening on me. So if I had the bumpy bump, the Price is Right loser horn loaded up, I would play that. But I just had to text SJ something there. But um, but yeah, it's 11 o'clock. I work today, my last day before vacation. Not going anywhere, so I won't have AJ telling me I do not want to see any articles from you because I'm home. I can even do them at 4 o'clock in the morning if I really want to, even though uh, that may not be a good idea because there are days where I do have to get up early, like for example this Saturday for also eligible. Uh, and it looks like we're going to talk Woodbine on Saturday, and hopefully I have another big day. And SJ can vouch for this. Uh, we were watching the first 5 races of Woodbine a couple of weeks ago when they originally had scheduled the King's Plate, but they canceled racing. I had 3 or 4 winners in the first 5 races, and SJ ended up opening a horse racing account, which I don't think she's used yet. But uh, but yeah, but I got, but it's all it's all hot and cold to me. I have good days, I have bad days, and you know, uh, you know, and like I said uh, a couple of times, you throw a free program at me, and I can wager on it on my Twin Spires account or on FanDuel. I should be promoting FanDuel because they're one of the people that we have promotions with on the Bleacher Brothers page. If there is a promotion and you give me a free program, hell yeah, I'll play it if I have time. I did that with Fort Erie today. Well, I played like it was fart Erie because I sucked today. It just seemed like everything I had was finishing second, except for the Prince of Wales Stakes today, where my horse just dropped anchor on the turn. Apparently, he's not a long shot, not a horse that can go 9.5, 10 furlongs or longer. He was just a horse that just he couldn't even get the lead in the race. There was other horses that went for the lead when I figured he was going to be loose on the lead. And when you read those articles, there's times when you read back at it and you want to see what I thought versus what happened. There are days where I am spot on, and there are days like today where I was way off. And there are times when I'm way off and my horse wins, but it is what it is. So, but oh, and one final announcement here, and let me do this one thing here. Let me go here. Just to let you guys know, and I am going to share my screen one more time tonight. So let's say you're a fan of me, and why I don't know. Well, you got to understand my sense of humor. So let's say you become a real fan of the show. I had in the past the Philly Guy Speaks podcast, which was originally just audio, then it became audio and video. Now, how I define podcast, I define it along the lines of Preston and Steve when they started podcasting when they got to WMMR in Philadelphia about 15, 20 years ago. Basically, their definition is my definition, which is a really large audio file. Now, of course, there's the video element like this show is, and you can go on YouTube, you can watch this on X after the fact, whatever. But I will tell you, as I share my screen here, that oh, shut up. I will tell you that as of today, because I finally figured out how to do it, the Joe Quills show is on Apple. Is on Apple Podcasts. So we were on all the other sites, all the other platforms. We weren't on Apple. That was on me. I finally figured it out, but we are there. Those first four episodes that you see there, the four older ones, they're eventually going to drop. I'm going to delete them. They're just preview episodes. So if you want to listen to them, you can, bring something up that I said and use it against me. Go right ahead. But um, but yesterday's episode is on there, and come tomorrow, I will put up today's episode. It'll be much faster. It's just that I got a early day tomorrow. I got to get to the doctor at 8:45. I got an 8:45 appointment, so I got to be there early. You know, hopefully it won't be a lab court type thing where I'm sitting there for 45 minutes because of all these fucking walk-ins that I had yesterday at lab court. But um, so so um, we were on iHeart, we were on Amazon, we were on Spotify. So you had all those different options. It was just that because of me not figuring it out until today, we are on Apple Podcasts. So if you have an iPhone, you can subscribe to the pod, and as soon as it gets uploaded and it's ready to listen, you'll get the alert. If you have the settings that you want to download, it'll download for you right away, and then you can start listening. Um, so it's just another option that I have, an option that I go above and beyond with the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. And this is something that I've done even before Bleacher Brothers, where I had this audio only feature. Now it's an audio that you can listen on demand after the fact. So let's say you're going on a plane trip to Seattle or LA or Portland, and you got a direct flight and it's a 5-hour flight from the East Coast. Well, guess what? You do have some the option of listening that way, or if you just want to listen to, you know, talk, have me talk about football or whatever, or you just want to listen, you want to listen to an old episode, you want to catch up on things. I'm now on there, and what I would recommend is rate me 5 stars. I think you need 5 reviews in order to get into the algorithm. So I'd like to get into the algorithm so I can build everything up here. And also, SJ is helping me with trying to get to affiliate status as well. I have the 50 people. It's just that I have to get my viewer average up. So, um, so it's all part of the plan for me because it's more than just watching me live on Twitch, especially on Twitch, even though I'm on X and I'm on YouTube. Those on there, give me a follow. But this is another option that I give you guys. Feel free to subscribe. Give me a 5 star review so I can get into the algorithm and we can grow this even more. Because one thing I said at the beginning of the year is I'm trying to grow the brand this year, my brand, and you know, I got people supporting me here. Bleacher Brothers is supporting me. SJ is supporting me. Everybody that watches and listens supports me. Now, I'm not talking support as in money because I don't need the money. But just the hey, this is what I think you should do, or I can help you with this. I'm okay with that. You know, you know, because like I said, SJ is one of the people that I look up to when it comes to streaming because she has done it for a while now, and she is a great streamer, and she needs to get herself back in front of the camera again and start streaming. But that's just me. But uh, but yeah, so that's That was the news that I broke this afternoon on X earlier today that you can listen through Apple now, and you can watch it on whatever site you want to, whatever platform you want to use, because it will pick up on the stats that I have on Spreaker. Uh, so so that is going to be it for this show. Thank you to Mike, Pork Chop, SJ, uh, Chairman of the Board for the raid. SJ, once again, for reminding me that I need to set up my alerts as well. Bank Boy was in here, and everybody watching on X. Penguin AZ was watching on YouTube. And thank you to everybody who's going to watch after the fact and listen after the fact now, because we do have that set up now. So I do appreciate everybody. Um, I don't I don't have anybody that to rate, so I'm just going to call it a night. Do appreciate everybody, and I'm off tomorrow. Next week we're going to start 4 days a week, even though we're not officially starting the BBSN network, but I'm going to start doing Wednesdays next week. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish I had a closing phrase that would be nice and snappy, but I don't. I suck. And I suck is not going to be the snappy phrase, Mike, so stop it. So that's it for now. Do appreciate everybody. I'll catch you on Thursday at 9 p.m. And we'll be talking a little football and God knows what else. And by the way, my picks: Texas State money line plus 105 and Miami Dolphins minus 2.5 and minus 110. Have a great night, everybody. Catch you on Thursday.